It's the 26th of March 2024 and this is your Solana Daily Debrief. Starting with this, Solana with 220 billion volume weeks in a row. So this will just climb and climb and climb in my opinion, and then more liquidity will come into Solana, and then not financial advice, but the price of Solana will go up. DeFi TVL has hit 4.43 billion and this will continue to grow as well. And I think in particular at the moment, a lot more liquidity is going to go straight into DeFi and far less will go into NFTs. On-chain activity with stablecoins is massive with Solana, and normally Tron does very well here, but maybe Solana is going to start capturing a lot of the transfers that Tron normally gets. We'll have to wait on that. What we'd need to see in order for this to be true is if countries such as Turkey and African countries, if they start to allow people to cash out from USDC into their local currency using Solana instead of Tron, because at the moment they heavily favor Tron. And blockchains are not all about TPS of course, but it is good to see when Solana is actually doing very well. And this is one thing that's just super important to keep in mind. If all these chains talk about the future of a high TPS, we're already living in a stage when we need high TPS. Right now, if TPS went up to 5,000, probably all going to be used. There are a lot of transactions that have been dropped and you have to pay priority fees. So I don't know how realistically these guys are going to actually survive when, they're pushing out 17 transactions per second. Metaplex launches Core, which is the next generation standard for NFTs on Solana. It's currently live on DevNet. So if you're into this sort of thing, go and play with it. One thing is it's significantly cheaper to mint than P NFTs, because P NFTs are very expensive. If you want to build on Solana and you're looking for grants, then check out this post here. You've got a few different options, of course. Cubic, that's certainly one to check out. Dean's List DAO and Super Team DAO. You can also apply for a grant from Build with Monkeys and Coliseum as well. If you're building something with high potential, you can go and apply to the foundation as well. Here's an article on DePin and AI. So basically tokens have 5 to 10x since this article. So now is the second best time to study DePin. And this was February 13th. So I've got my kind of favorites at the moment, and one is GMRX, which I'll cover shortly. But basically here, if you're just going to be buying the token, I do feel that the tokenomics are not great. So if we're just going to scroll through this, if you have the ability to run a node and actually earn rewards, I think that would be a better option. Because at some stage, Helium and Render, the token price may go up, but then all of a sudden, what's the actual use case? Some of these tokens are quite old, so they've already been around for a previous cycle. So for them to do really well this time, it's actually quite hard. Not true of Solana and Ethereum like actual blockchain tokens, but it does tend to be true of tokens that are just on the blockchain. So if you have the ability to do any of these sort of things, then check it out. So as an example, Shadow Drive by Genesis, they initially did a really cool way of distributing their tokens. 50% went to the owners of their NFTs. However, as we found out, that doesn't work well for price. And then people aren't interested in your project unless it's good price. Also, I believe there's a lot of shadow actually on FTX. I'm pretty sure that they will start to liquidate that. So as they liquidate that, that's a lot of selling pressure. You can do your own research, of course, but what I'm trying to allude to is if you have the ability to use a Hive mapper, then buy a Hive mapper and earn rewards. Same with all these sort of things. If you have the ability to actually get a unit, then try it out. I'm going to be covering Backpack more now, just because they're starting to ship a few things and I don't want you to miss out on these rewards. However, keep in mind that I do use Phantom as my preferred wallet, but there's a lot of people that are starting to see the value in Backpack, but they're more experienced people. So if you're very new to the blockchain, then stick with Phantom, or in particular, maybe you want to use both to be actually fair. So preseason phase 2 snapshot closes on April 6 at 8 AM UTC. Preseason phase 1 rewards will be distributed to qualifying users when the token launches. Now this is referring to the Backpack exchange, and some people can't actually jump into this because of KYC issues. Like as an example, in Europe, pretty sure there's no one that can actually use this exchange. But if you can, then you probably want to go and use Backpack Wallet as well. As an example, to be eligible for Tensor drop on Backpack exchange, you must have a trade on Tensor using your Backpack Wallet. Rewards will be determined based on your Backpack exchange volume and this Tensor activity. So if you are farming this, if you do think the Backpack token will do well, then it's probably worth you considering to use this wallet. Also, it says here, there will be a time limit to doing this activity on Tensor, so we recommend doing it sooner rather than later. There's a new dApp out here which allows you to send emails. So this started yesterday, March 25th, 2 p.m. EDT. This was the first email sent with Solmail. This might be something that you want to check out, and maybe I'll do a little bit of research into it. But basically, if I see something like this, I'm not necessarily bullish in any way. An email on the blockchain, it doesn't really seem like it's needed. However, narrative trumps everything. And SolChat has a token, it went up crazily, and I missed it. So if Solmail has some sort of rewards program or something like that, then maybe it's worth considering, but I'll do some research. Right now, I'm just putting it on your radar. This week is going to be all about Jupiter. So right now, Meow's putting out basically the vision, and he says that this is going to be a big week for the Jupiverse with the official DAO funding. So the first core working group funding vote and kickstarting of the grants discussions. We'll get a lot more info on this on Wednesday, so I'll cover it on Thursday. For now though, the actionable is simple. If you have JUP, in my opinion, it's best to go and vote and actually lock it in the DAO. There's no votes at the moment, but there'll be a vote, as I've said, this week. Also on the subject of voting and LFG launchpads, Uprock, Sourceful, and MonkeyDex, these will come back in to the LFG launchpad stage 2. They missed out, of course, in the first round, and now people can go and vote on them for this round. Of these three, I think Uprock has the most amount of potential, and we can see here that Juzzy.Sol says, with the experience of the first vote, the team have made changes. I recommend voting for Uprock. They will give 50% of UPT to community. So maybe initially in the first round, their tokenomics were a bit off. Now, locking up and staking your JUP has many benefits, but one thing is receiving 100 million JUP active staking rewards will actually drop in July. So there's a lot of people that are asking this question. It's very simple. Go and lock up your JUP. Go and vote on every proposal. Stay up to date with my videos, just watch them, and every time there's a proposal, I'll go and tell you. It doesn't matter if you have 100,000 JUP in one wallet or 1,000 wallets with 100 JUP. You will get the same amount of rewards based on how much JUP you have. So the more JUP you have in one wallet, the better. There is a way that you could get more rewards by having multiple addresses, but that would have to come from the team directly, not the JUP team, but the team that you're actually voting for. As an example, BANX had a system with Catnip, which was their kind of bribing protocol last vote. If you want more information on this, you can go and check out this document. It's very simple, and if you want, you can go and reply with what your thoughts are. On the subject of JUP, the JUP JLP price should be going up quite nicely in my opinion. Basically, there's a huge amount of volume, huge amount of fees, and 70% of the fees go to the JLP token. So even if the actual SOL price goes down, you're still getting that yield from the actual perp DEX. Congrats to Squad's protocol. This is a multi-sig wallet. One day I'll try and find some time to cover this in a few tutorials, but after 6 months, they are now securing $2.5 billion worth of assets. Star Atlas has their roadmap release. Now, I've personally found Star Atlas to have too many moving parts for me to be able to follow, so maybe you can look at this and think, okay, this is something I'm into, and then from there, you can go do a small amount of research, go find someone that creates good videos on it, and learn, because I think it will do very well in terms of just being a fun ecosystem to play in. However, the actual building of it will take quite a bit of time, and they've already been building for a few years. So I'm not saying I'm bearish or anything like that. I'm just a little bit too old to probably partake in this, and I don't have the time. But it certainly has the potential to be a top game in the entirety of crypto. Dead King Society has come out with Dead King Ventures. So Turned Up Dylan is the leader of the gang, the founder. This is a pivotal milestone for DKS. It's important we broaden the spectrum of opportunities for kings. We've already secured some interesting prospects. Our next service offering will surprise. Very practical service that no other NFT project provides. So if you're looking to get some funding for your project, feel free to email ventures@deadkingsociety.io. Gaimin's token has released today. So it's already gone out, and this is available on Bybit, KuCoin, and Gate. Also, the token is available on Solana. You'll see it on BNB chain as well, but it has been launched on Solana, as I mentioned. And be aware, this fits the narrative entirely. So there will be a huge number of scammers out there trying to do silly stuff like this, botting it crazily to try and get more engagement. It'll probably take Twitter a decent amount of time to even find it and close it down. This is currently the token price, 2 cents. There's a lot of things going on with the token. So I haven't covered staking yet. We still have time. You can go and work it out if you want, just jump into Discord, or I'll try and cover it in the next few days. Also, I haven't covered the actual claiming of your ELO rewards if you did any of the engagement farming on Twitter. I just unfortunately don't have time. It's pretty simple. but some people are running into some issues, but you can just jump into Discord or Telegram. Just be mindful of scammers that will be there to try and offer you assistance as a moderator or someone like that, and they'll try and DM you. Don't reply to any of those DMs, just do everything within the actual Telegram or Discord chat, or actually in Discord's Gaimin server in the tickets section. Just keep that in mind. Zeus Network will be launching soon, 4th of the 4th, and it looks as though there's 300,000 unique addresses poised to partake in one of the most significant airdrops in history for Zeus. We don't know exactly what the allocation will be for JUP holders, and by JUP holders, we're referring to JUP voters. Zeus Network, in my opinion, is something that they need to actually ship everything and have it audited for it to really be successful. However, trying to accumulate as many of these tokens at a cheap price could work out very, very well, especially as the price of Bitcoin starts to go up to $100,000 and more of that comes across to Solana. Then maybe Zeus Network is something that does really, really well. Yesterday, BANX did their launch. I did not manage to get any BANX. It did not work very well. And we can see this whale did not do very well at all. They bought $920,000 worth of BANX, and then 19 minutes later, they took the loss, and a big loss, losing over $600,000. And if you didn't experience it, then you can see here, proud to be the official infrastructure provider for BANX. This is a kind of an OG joke from the Degenerate Ape Academy, because back in 2021, the actual mint process was not smooth at all with the DAA, and so it's just been a running joke every time something's kind of broken. Now, BANX has replied in their own way to this, and there's people that are divided. I have my own view, and it's pretty neutral, to be honest. I don't mind that I got no tokens. I did actually go and vote for them. I do think they're a really good project, and I did use the catnip system. And I can't actually understand if I can claim any BANX tokens by voting for them with the catnip system, because the messaging in Discord isn't clear. And this is probably my criticism with BANX. I've never found their messaging to be super, super clear. Like, this is a really clever video. And then there's so much engagement, kind of like GIFs and things like that. It was a little bit hard to even work out where is my attention supposed to go. So it's kind of like too many pretty pictures just end up being a little bit too confusing, as opposed to, say, a nice clean post. Like yesterday, I referenced one from Slog, a nice clean thread. Get all the information just step by step by step. Now, I guess they have to fix this to try and get their brand to basically have a lot more people using their product. Having said that, projects can certainly pivot. At the moment, they're taking the stance that FUD is the ultimate fuel. And just for a little bit of history, because I guess I haven't actually explained it, but yesterday the claim site went live. It was effectively a free airdrop, right? You had to go and claim it. And if you've done something, or if you have a partner NFT like DJ Ape, Gecko, or one of the ones that they've actually mentioned, you would be eligible to claim with that wallet. The issue is there was only 500 million tokens. Some wallets had 10 million or even more tokens to claim. And so a lot of people that had, say, a 16,000 BANX allocation, they weren't able to claim, and the site just crashed. There was no priority fees feature either. And so for a lot of people, they just wasted an hour just trying to get something, and then they got nothing. Now, I don't mind about this, and I don't mind that people have these takes. The reality is the site went down. I think we're kind of past the point where a site should go down. If you create demand, if you think you're going to have demand, then your infrastructure should be able to support that. Having said that, any websites that I launch in the future may go down, but I don't have experience here. I haven't been building something like this for many, many years. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not salty in the slightest. I don't mind at all. I didn't have a massive allocation, maybe a couple of $100 worth. That's fine. If I miss that, completely fine, no drama. The issue is, how does this help the brand in the future? So when they've got tokens like this launching, are you kind of helping the brand by adding to this FUD, by retweeting everything, which is, talking about BANX in a negative light? Maybe that's their marketing strategy. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I haven't found in my experience that FUD is the right thing. FUD kind of needs to be addressed. You need to take the feedback and go and reiterate things and improve it. The actual token price has gone down exceptionally low. Don't worry about this down 90%, because this is kind of not really a fair metric when someone initially does some sort of buy at a high price and then it just shows everything else going down. And also, I imagine the number of holders here at 5,000, I imagine that's wrong. Hopefully it's wrong. We should be able to check on SolScan. Okay, so holders are not very high. Well, to be honest, with BANX, I'll leave you to do your own research. I want them to do well, but I do feel they need to fix up their marketing and their messaging. That's enough news for today. Remember, your actionables are very simple. Go and see if you've got some dupe and go and start locking it up so that you can vote in a few days. Also, the second actionable is if you qualify to use Backpack Exchange, then maybe you want to put a little bit of volume through there to see if the narrative pushes that future token up into the stratosphere. Thanks for watching. Stay curious. Catch you tomorrow.